It is absolutely freezing. So the morning that I come out and just expect to have a nice walk and just really relax and enjoy the countryside. And I come over the other side of this wall expecting the frost to have cleared where it was more sheltered and a little bit lower down here. And it's fantastic. It really, really is. I'll just show you here. It's just this really gorgeous hoar frost on these trees, and I'll have to admit I have never photographed a hoar frost, a frost that's covered the trees, the land, the rocks, the grasses like this. I've never photographed it before, so I'm absolutely loving this. So I'm not really sure where to look or what to do. So at the minute I'm actually just repeating a similar composition to what I've done before, but obviously today it just looks completely different and there's a whole new dimension to it. So I want to show you this because I think it's worth taking. So we've got this Rowan tree that sits on the end of this wall here. So they've got this old stone wall. And then we've got this quite a boggy, grassy path which leads down past the wall. And there's a little bit of detail in the background as well. With this Rowan tree, which looks lovely in the sort of late summertime when there's berries on. But the way it just sits on the end of this wall, it's kind of shaped round, and some of the branches meet up with a silver birch, which is coming out of a rock on the left-hand side. And it also kind of frames the trees in the background as well. And there's a bit of an oak tree further down, a small one, which we can't really see much today. But just this stone wall, and then on this left side we've got this natural rock face. And also today, because of this frost, these reeds on this boggy path are really standing out. And I just really like the way that these different elements kind of all frame and lead you down through this gap and through this, very sort of natural organic path down into the valley. But the fact that you can't actually see into the valley, they just got these bits that kind of frame the scene, but are also disguising some of the scene that sits beyond, especially as we've got the fog today. That just enhances things even further, because if that wasn't there, you'd be able to see quite a lot of detail in the background, whereas I prefer that mystery of not being able to see everything that's going on behind, and then just more of the imagination process of what lies beyond. When I go down this path and turn that corner, what am I going to see down there? So I just kind of like it, but that's like what I like about woodland photography. It's just that not knowing what you're going to see and what you're going to come across, and to kind of capture that same sort of feeling in the more open landscape. I really quite enjoy that as well. I have taken a shot already just to be sure that I was happy with everything, and I think I am. So I'm going to head down this path now into the valley, and then hopefully there's lots more hoar frost down there and then little things to play with. So we'll see what happens. Now this little scene here is one of my, it's kind of one of my all-time favourites, to be honest. I think it's because it's quite representative of when my photography took a turning point. It was definitely when I kind of got into the more intimate landscapes, when I got into exploring more. And when I just really started to enjoy the process of going out and discovering my own little quiet locations where I could completely relax and actually really benefit from the therapeutic benefits of photography. It's really quite simple, to be honest, and I don't really kind of want to get into the metaphors of why I really like it, but I'll just show you the scene behind me here, and it's all about this tree, the fallen rocks, and giving it some negative space, some breathing room. I like the tree. I think it's got character, almost like little blood vessels coming out, and just all the different elements, all those kind of fallen rocks, and the kind of landscape in general where it's quite rugged. And just today with this Hoar Frost, I just had to take it again because I've never seen it like this, and I really wanted to kind of share it in a video as well. And it's a funny old image because I was showing it to my partner and she's like, oh well, that's a bit boring. But then I've had some photographers who I really respect pay it some very nice compliments, and it's just, if they see something in it that I see, then that's fantastic. But it's, yeah, like I said, it's all about the space as well. So what we're doing is I want to get this rocks in the kind of different formations that these fallen rocks have created. I want to position the tree over to the right hand side, and then just the flow and the energy of these branches coming out from the right hand side over to the left, and then giving it plenty of space. The spacing's important on this. And yes, it would be nice if it was a bit foggier today, but you know, I'm really trying to kind of stop myself from wanting perfect all the time, because really today is just about just chilling out and just getting back to really enjoying it. So yeah, the fog would have been nice just to kind of create a bit more separation between the tree and the background, but I can't complain because that tree just looks stunning with that frost in it. And I'll have to correct myself as well, because I think I said up there that I've never photographed in a hoar frost. I hadn't, but then there was a bit of a hoar frost when I did that video in Hornby. So yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have forgotten about that. But I've never seen it like this. And I don't know if you can see behind me, I think it's a bit overexposed. But I'm going to head in some trees there, which looks absolutely like a little winter wonderland. So I'm hoping I can see something in there. Right. There's mist and stuff flowing about, but then there's blue sky above me now, which is just helping to give a little bit of a warm glow as well. So yeah, quite happy with this. And I'm not bracketing exposures. It's just a single shot. The foreground's coming out a little bit darker, but I'm not losing any detail there, so I can bring that back a little bit if I want to. So yeah. I'm happy with that. Don't want to linger too much, because I really kind of want to get into those trees while there's hopefully a bit of mist and mood still lingering about there. So back in a bit. That wind chill is really biting. I'm so glad I put this big thick jacket on. And it's really kind of chewing up my batteries as well. I've made the mistake actually. I was trying to make a video a couple of weeks ago and it was a disaster because all my batteries just died so quickly. So I'm armed with extra batteries and just keep them in an inside pocket, keep them nice and warm, because I had a brand new branded battery in my camera and it's dead already. I'm onto my second one. So yeah, always be aware of that if you're out in the cold. So I've stopped at some silver birch trees which are just growing on the hillside, and as a lot of silver birch trees do, they seem to like sometimes seem to like these rocky environments, and sometimes they look like almost impossible environments for them to grow on. So this shot, it's kind of looking towards a hillside because I just really wanted to pick out that texture and detail of that frost on the branches, but then also there's a bit of the contrast with these sort of mossy big boulders that sit amongst the trees, but then also across the bottom of the frame, so it's quite a nice contrast. So I'm taking it quite a wide view, which brings out all these boulders at the bottom, contrasting and kind of disappearing behind the trees further up. But I think I'm going to hone in and try and get something with a little bit more detail as well. But I don't know, everything just looks absolutely brilliant. And the trouble when you get conditions like this, it's easy to kind of get carried away and you just think everything looks great. And then you get home and you've realised that some of them haven't transpired into a great image. I am pretty confident with a couple that I've taken earlier on. But I don't want that sun to come out and start melting everything off. Well, having said that, that could present some new opportunities in itself. So I'm just going to quickly take this one, move on, and then just soak all this in. Lovely. Some of the texture and detail in these conditions is absolutely lovely, and we just keep getting this bit of soft sunlight keeps coming out every now and then, just coming out briefly again there. So I'm just going to take a quick shot, and it's highlighting some of the detail in the trunks on these silver birch. And silver birch, like I said before, they just, I don't know, they just work really nicely when you've got this hoar frost because of those fine branches. And it gives so much fine detail, but we've got a number of different elements in this shot as well, which is just giving nice textures. And I think that's what this shot is going to be all about, is just colour, texture, and then something that's almost slightly more painterly. And we're actually a bit more sheltered here, and the lower ground isn't covered in frost so much, but I can see all the hoar frost further up in the treetops. So I just quite like this image showing that gradient of the rusty browns through to some of the green on the rocks, and then the slightly warmer tones in the tree trunks through to the cooler tones of the frost further up. And I just think it makes quite a nice shot. And it's very easy when you've got such nice conditions like this to get carried away, and you get a bit excited and you start running around like a headless chicken trying to capture lots of images to make the most of the morning. And that's really not a good approach, and quite often results in disappointment. I know I've made that mistake many times. So now I really just try and concentrate on, capture, if I just get that one really nice image from the morning, or if I could just capture a couple where I think, yeah, I'm very happy with them and I want to share them with others. And what's particularly nice about shooting in locations like this is that I found this place about 14 months ago, something like that, and it's just a very very quiet corner of North Yorkshire. And I've never seen anybody else here, nobody, which is crazy really, because it's such a nice little spot. And that just means that every image that I capture here has probably never been taken before, and it just makes it that little bit more special because you've got that personal connection, and it just reminds you of that space and that place where you like to spend time, you like to relax, and it's an area where I can explore and discover new things and try and develop my work. And makes you work really hard as well, because there's nothing stand out, nothing particularly obvious to photograph. It just makes you work hard to seek out compositions that you believe work. And like I was saying, this, just very simple shots like this, which are about the textures, you start to appreciate just those very subtle images a bit more, rather than just the big vistas all the time. So yes, now normally I'd probably be thinking, oh God, what's the next shot going to be, and rushing off to do the next one. But I'm quite content. The Hoar Frost is, still lingering on the trees. The sun's just poking out every now and then, so I don't think that's threatening the conditions too much. So yeah, I'm just going to have a little wander further down, and it's not much further down here. We kind of reached the end of this little area, so I'll see if there's anything down there. If not, I'll just have a slow wander back this way, and then I've got about another hour or two, something like that. So fingers crossed, might get another shot. I've come out of the woods and I'm back into the open space where it's a bit more breezy and a bit more chilly. And I'm just looking back to the woodland where I was, and I just think it looks absolutely stunning. It's a very, very simple scene, but I just love the contrast between, oh, I'll show you here if I can, but there's just this lovely contrast between this bracken, this dead bracken which isn't covered in frost, and then you've got the stone wall, and there's all the woodland behind, which is still covered in that gorgeous, gorgeous frost. So, and I just think it makes quite a nice simple scene. And because this area is quite personal to me, I've never actually sort of taken this composition before, so I just wanted to try it out and see what it's like. But it's quite nice, as you know, there's a couple of rocks scattered about. We've got the small detail of the gate that passes through the stone wall, and I just think it's grabbing some of the atmosphere that's present this morning. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a quick go, and then to be honest, I might actually be done. I'm going to have a bit of a wander further that way and see if we can get something with some of the nice frost-covered reeds, which are in a bit of a boggy area. There might be some interest there. So, but as it is, I'm really happy with everything that I've got so far, so thumbs up.